South Carolina's firing squad. Justice served or cruel and unusual? Did a condemned man's final plea fall on deaf ears, paving the way for a controversial execution method not seen in over a decade? We delve into the legal and ethical complexities of South Carolina's decision to proceed with a firing squad execution. Brad Sigmon's legal team made a final, desperate attempt to delay his scheduled execution. The appeal centered on gaining access to information about the lethal injection drug used by the state. Sigmon argued that the lack of transparency surrounding the drug forced him to choose the firing squad. He claimed he was left with no other option due to the uncertainty surrounding the lethal injection process. The South Carolina Supreme Court ultimately rejected Sigmon's appeal, sealing his fate. This decision marks the end of a long and arduous legal battle for Sigmon. Sigmon was convicted of the brutal murders of his ex-girlfriend's parents in 2002. He was subsequently sentenced to death for his heinous crimes, a sentence he has fought to overturn ever since. Having exhausted all other legal avenues, the firing squad now stands as Sigmon's only remaining option. The court's decision has set the stage for a controversial execution. This case has reignited the long-standing debate surrounding the death penalty in the United States. The use of the firing squad as a method of execution has further intensified the controversy. Critics argue that the firing squad constitutes cruel and unusual punishment, violating constitutional rights. They point to the potential for a prolonged and agonizing death. Supporters, however, maintain that it is a necessary tool for justice, providing closure for victims' families. They argue that it is a swift and certain method of execution. The execution of Brad Sigmon represents a significant moment in South Carolina's history. It marks the first time the state has utilized the firing squad in over a decade. This event is likely to reignite a broader debate about capital punishment within the state and across the nation. The focus will be on the methods used to carry out these sentences. Sigmon's legal team sought a fuller hearing in court to learn more about the lethal injection drug. They argued that access to this information was crucial for making an informed decision. Sigmon claimed that the lack of information surrounding the drug forced his choice of execution method. He felt he was left with no other option but to choose the firing squad. As the execution is set to proceed as scheduled, the focus shifts to the ethical and legal implications of the firing squad. This method of execution raises serious questions about human rights and the role of the state. The potential for further legal challenges or appeals remains, although the options are limited. The outcome of this case could have a significant impact on future death penalty cases in South Carolina. The debate surrounding capital punishment and the methods used to carry it out will undoubtedly continue. This case serves as a stark reminder of the complexities and moral dilemmas inherent in the death penalty system. Sigmon will be strapped into a chair at 6 p.m. Friday in the death chamber used for all South Carolina executions at Broad River Correctional Institution in Columbia. A target will be placed over his heart and a hood over his head. 3 shooters, all with live ammunition, will fire from 15 feet, 4.6 meters away. Sigmon would be the first inmate killed by firing squad in the U.S. in 15 years. Lawyers for Sigmon said in court papers that he chose a violent death by firing squad because, without more information, he thought he would die a tortuous death if he picked lethal injection. Autopsies from 2 inmates executed in the months since South Carolina changed its method of lethal injection to massive amounts of pentobarbital showed a considerable amount of fluid in their lungs. A defense expert testified the inmates could have suffered struggling to breathe. But lawyers for the state have said fluid is often found in the lungs of prisoners killed by lethal injections, and other courts have not ruled it was cruel and unusual punishment. They also said witnesses at the executions, including the inmates' attorneys, did not report any breathing or signs of consciousness after about a minute. Prison officials also told the doctor conducting the autopsy that both Marion Bowman, who was executed on Jan 31, and Richard Moore, executed on November 1, needed twice the dose of the lethal injection drug typically used in other states and by the federal government. In Moore's case, 2 doses were given 11 minutes apart. In Bowman's execution, it wasn't clear the time range, although a witness heard talking 10 minutes after the execution began. There is no justice here. Everything about this barbaric, state-sanctioned atrocity, from the choice to the method itself, is abjectly cruel. We should not just be horrified, we should be furious, defense attorney Gerald Boking said in a statement. South Carolina has a shield law that keeps the suppliers of its lethal injection drugs, the members of the execution team, and the procedure used to kill an inmate secret, so it isn't known if South Carolina's new protocol requires 2 doses of pentobarbital. Sigmon also plans to ask Republican Governor Henry McMaster to commute his death sentence to life in prison. His lawyers said he is a model prisoner trusted by guards and works every day to atone for the killings he committed after succumbing to severe mental illness. McMaster will make his decision moments before the execution starts. No South Carolina governor has granted clemency in the 49 years since the death penalty restarted. What are your thoughts on the death penalty and the use of the firing squad? Share your opinions in the comments below, and let's have a respectful discussion. Stay informed about this case and other true crime stories by subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell. Your support helps us bring you in-depth analysis and critical perspectives on important legal and ethical issues. Consider supporting organizations that advocate for criminal justice reform and provide legal assistance to those facing the death penalty. Your contribution can make a real difference in the lives of others.